Bear Hollow Estates. Okay. I've been calling you Bear Country Jamboree for a while. Sorry. So welcome and welcome to all our regulars. My name's Debbie Lucas. I'm dietitian. And we're talking today about nutrition as we age. So hopefully we caught all the important things that we want to talk about. And we've got some food. We'll talk about the food towards the end. How is it? How's the food? Okay, Leanne's been slaving away over there on that broccoli soup and the plant-based meatloaf, which I thought was really kind of good. I like that. And I did the no-chop chili. So we're glad to have you.
Thank you. Do you have any salt?
Ha! That's what everybody asked for. That's so cute that you would ask for that.
There was a good chance that you didn't.
We
do. Do you really?
We do.
Oh.
We don't put it in it because if people want to add it later, they could. So we actually do. Maybe Linda will go find our secret stash. Yeah.
I would like it.
Yeah.
They don't put salt on it.
They don't?
Let us.
Because some people are just really sensitive to salt, and so they don't want to have any, and others think it's really bland. But remember, the less salt you have, the more you get used to it. We've learned to love salt because of the world we live in, and because, salt tastes really good. I know. And most chefs, how are the chefs where you all live at Bear Hollow? They're good? Okay. But they don't use salt either, or
They
much.
don't put it on. Like I said, they let us add.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. All right. So I'm glad to have you. And it's February, and normally I will have a slide about how February is Heart Month, and I forgot to do that this time, but happy Heart Month.
Thank you.
And this Friday will be Go Red for Women Day to increase awareness about heart disease in women. And heart disease remains the #1 killer of Americans. And so we're here to fight that. So that is one of our big things here at the Cardiovascular Wellness Program. I'll just call it CWP for short, is that we want to help people to either take care of their heart disease if they have it, or have them not get it. And the good thing is the diet because people say, oh, it's so hard because, I have heart disease, or I have high blood pressure, or I have diabetes, and, you have all these different things you have to eat for. Well, the good news is they're all the same. Everything that we do is going to help with your heart. It's going to help with diabetes. It's going to help with high blood pressure. It's going to help reduce risk of cancer. So that's why we promote a whole food plant-based diet. Now, I'll just tell you, not everybody's doing that, and that's okay. We just want to move a little closer to that. And that might be, the first step might be to just eat more fruits and vegetables. That could be our first step. Oh, we have the contraband. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, is she a heavy shaker? Oh, no.
A lot.
At home, that comes out pretty fast. At home, I cover up with tape some of the holes on my salt shaker, because that way you think you're kind of getting it, but you don't get quite as much. Okay, bless you.
Sorry.
All right. So let's get going, and happy Heart Month. So we're going to talk about nutrition, bless you, nutrition challenges as we age, senior services that might be available to a lot of us, specific nutrients that we might want to be concerned about as we get older, the eating style that's best for you. And of course, I'm all for the whole food plant-based eating style, but there's lots of different styles. What's best for you? And that's what it all comes down to. I might eat whole food plant-based, and that works great for me, and I love it, and I like that. But we got to start with wherever you want to be and whatever your goals are. We always want to remember what your why is. Why do I want to make changes? Well, I want to make changes because I don't want to get diabetes, so I'm going to make some changes. Or I want to make changes so I don't have another heart attack. Or whatever your reason is, remember your why, and all your things you do, your lifestyle changes should help lead you in that direction to get that. And we'll talk about goal setting. I know I'm a big goal setter, love goal setting. Okay, so here we're starting with challenges as we age. I'm starting off with weight right out of the gate. Weight. Because as we get older, we can lose muscle mass. And muscle is what tells our body how many calories to burn. So now we don't burn as many calories, which in science speak is we have a lower metabolic rate. We don't, and people have probably heard of BMR or basal metabolic rate. That's how many calories we burn. And muscle guides that a lot. So if we lose muscle, now we don't burn as many calories. We also might be a little less physically active. So we might have, I don't know, run marathons back in the day. And now we just struggle to walk down to the mailbox. So we got to keep working at it though. But because we're not exercising as much, possibly, that's why I keep saying may, because people who come here, and maybe you all from Bear Hollow, you got your exercise room, and maybe everybody's exercising a lot. That's what we want to see, because that's going to help build muscle, burn more calories. We also might need a few less calories as we get older, but we still eat like we did back when we were younger. So we just want to be aware of that. We want to eat food when we're hungry, stop when we're satisfied. Notice I didn't say stop when we're full. And most of us didn't learn that. When you were done at the table and you said to mom, I'm done, she wouldn't say, "Are you satisfied?" She'd say, "Are you full?" We learned it. So it's hard to get over that.
Did you clean?
Or did you clean your plate? Because there's starving kids somewhere, which changed with every generation where the starving kids are. You're right. So if we lose muscle, we're still eating the same calories as we did when we were younger, and we're not moving as much. That can contribute to extra weight. And so I don't know if you all know what your BMI is. That's body mass index. It's just a calculation how your height and weight work together. It's not 100% great number, because if you got a lot of muscle, if you look like The Rock, his BMI is super high because he's got so much muscle. But for most of us, it's a pretty decent number. And so you can, and if you're saying, gosh, I'd like to know what my BMI is, you just need to Google, what's my BMI? And it will ask you for your height and your weight, and it'll calculate it for you. So if we get a higher number in our BMI, we go from a healthy weight, which goes up to 24.9, and then 25 to just under 30 is considered overweight. And then a BMI of 30 or over is considered obese. I know we don't always all love those words. That's just kind of the scientific names they put all these things on. But anything that moves us closer to a healthy weight is good. We don't have to get to what we weighed in high school. We just want to move closer to a healthy weight. And if we never make it to the healthy weight, but if we lost a little weight and we kept that weight off, that's perfect. So if you're having trouble with your weight, and we'll have another slide that talks about underweight too, I think. You might need to see a dietitian. So you can ask your doctor for a referral to a dietitian. You might want to try a weight loss program if weight is an issue, or an exercise program. They can all help. So I guess we want to think, as we think of challenges as we age, we also think about what can we do about it? So we can make lifestyle changes, but we could also get some help. And that help might be, in this case, maybe seeing a dietitian. And a lot of our insurances will cover that, or that might be included. Or I don't know about at Bear Hollow, but usually some places will have a consultant dietitian that you might be able to meet up with too. Okay, changes as we age, bless you. Eating issues. As we get older, we have problems maybe with our chewing. Starts with our chewing. Then we might have trouble with our swallowing. We might have trouble with our digesting. And then we might have trouble with absorbing the nutrients that we're eating. It all changes as we get older. So we don't have as many of those enzymes in our gut to help us digest food as we get older. So that might make it a little more difficult. Loss of dentition, which is just teeth. So maybe our teeth aren't quite what they used to, or maybe they don't line up like they used to. Or maybe we have dentures and those dentures don't line up as well, or they're a little looser, or things like that. So that might help or lead to problems with our chewing. And then if we don't chew our food well, now we swallow bigger food that gets down into our gut. And now that causes all kinds of problems on our digestive system. So if we're having trouble with this, we might need a little help. One thing that we could ask for, especially if you find you're choking all the time, we might need a swallow study. They can see where your problem lies when you swallow. Well, hello there. You're going to go over there. Well, go welcome. I'm glad you're here. And you could ask your doctor, say, I'm choking all the time. What's wrong? Even on water. What's wrong? And sometimes I know we've had a lot of people who just need to add some thickener to their beverages, and that helps. We could try soft foods, super well cooked foods. I'm sure they can do that at Bear Hollow. We can do that at home. We just cook our foods more soft. Or look at this. We have a little delivery service. We are just fancy today. I'm telling you guys that we're really showing off for you.
How cute. Oh, thank you.
And then if we're not
My hubby.
chewing well, and we're not swallowing well, and we're not digesting well, that can lead to malnutrition. What's malnutrition? It's when we're not getting all the nutrients that we need. It could lead to us losing weight without trying, which I know sometimes people think, oh, why wouldn't it catch me some of that? But it's really not as fun as it sounds. So again, this might be a time to tell your doctor when you're having some struggles here. We might need to see a dentist. And I know Medicare now covers dentistry a little bit more than it used to, but I think people didn't go because dentists are so darn expensive. And I know they are. It's craziness, and you just hate giving them your money. But it's going to help whatever we need. Or maybe you lost weight and now your dentures don't fit as well. So we might need to get a little help with new dentures. Okay, so that's what eating. Soft foods, that's kind of the answer to everything there. What about challenges as we age with movement? I said sometimes weight sneaks up because we're not moving as much as we did. Well, what are some problems that keep us from exercising as we get older? Mine might be my knee, so we got a little pain. Could be neuropathy. You're not feeling your feet or your feet hurt. It could be that you just don't like to sweat and get your hair dirty. I know. I know, ladies. It could be that we have some joint issues. Maybe we have arthritis and maybe it gets stirred up. Maybe it's even worse this time of year when it's cold out. Maybe we don't have access to a gym. Maybe it's just that hot and cold weather. Well, it's too cold now, but in a few months it's going to be too hot. So we got to find what we can do. And some people say, my knee hurts, my shoulder, my back. We got it all. So maybe we need to ask for a physical therapy referral. And maybe you say, well, I've been to physical therapy before. They didn't do me a whole lot of good. Well, ask again, because maybe they'll just give you some exercises that you can do at home that might help. And then some of us have had maybe a knee replacement or hip replacement and various things. The answer to all of those issues is do your exercise that they taught you in physical therapy, and you do it every day. It never ends. You do it for the rest of your life, and that will help it. I promise you it will. Talk to your doctor about it. All our issues that we have to talk about too, I really encourage you, talk to your doctor or your nurse practitioner or the triage nurse that you talk to, whoever you're associated with. And then you could just come join here. We have an awesome gym. We have awesome people. We have food a lot. That should get you here. And then you can be it. I think it's so great here because we have so many different pieces of equipment. We do, Linda and Sharon, they lead exercise classes. So no matter what level you're at, you can do some exercise. And then you'll learn to do things at home. I still do the stretches that Linda taught me way back when this program started so that I could try to touch my toes. And it took me a lot of years. But still, every night I'm on the floor trying to touch my toes. I'm pretty close now. I'm actually okay. Linda, I don't think Linda ever thought I'd get there. Okay. Then as we age, we could have hunger. And I got hunger 3 different ways. So we could be that I just lost my appetite. As we get older, maybe we don't taste as much, we don't smell as much. And so we lose our appetite. So that's one. I'll have future slides on these, I'm hoping. It could be the lack of ability to secure food. So we don't get enough food, maybe because we don't have the money for it. And prices are going crazy right now. I know it's hard. Maybe we have physical ailments, so we can't go to the grocery store. Maybe we can't drive. And maybe we don't have people who can help us with that. Maybe we don't have technology skills. And you might say, well, what does that have to do with getting food on my plate? And well, it could be that you could get some financial help with food, but you don't know how to fill out all those forms online. Or, you could order food from Instacart or one of those things, but you're really not that great at it. So maybe we need to get some help with that. I encourage you to talk to your grandchildren about that because they'll do it. And then we could also have malnutrition. So malnutrition is we're really not eating right for whatever reason. And so now we're losing our nutrients. And so now we're not feeling as good as we should. Don't we want to feel great as we age? It's, everybody says, everybody says I should live longer. I want to live longer. But if I feel like this, I want to live longer. So we want to feel good. So we have more life in our years. That's what we want. Okay, so what if one of our loss of appetite things is we have trouble eating? Maybe we lost our smell or taste. And some people don't. I know some people have told me when they had COVID, they lost that taste and it never came back. So that's why we really need to spice things up. We like more spice and we like more texture. So spice doesn't have to be salt, which is what we all grew up loving. So it could be other seasonings though. And if we add color to our plate, we eat with our eyes first. So we look and go, oh, that looks pretty good. I want to try that. Now, if we don't have a great appetite, the answer is always small little meals. And when I remember when I was in school, which is a long, long time ago, that was always the answer, small, frequent meals, because you can't really overeat too much. Think of toddlers. They have little tiny tummies, but they have high energy needs. So they have to eat a lot during the day. So maybe we do too. It's okay to kind of do that. We want to have healthy snacks though, because when you think of a snack, what do you think of? Chips? Okay. Trail mix. Okay. Cookies. Let's be honest here. I know. So a snack should be like a mini meal. And we normally wouldn't have a meal of cookies, I'm hoping, or chips. So we want to think of them as mini meals of fruits and vegetables and grains, all the stuff we're supposed to eat. We want to eat calorie dense foods, meaning, especially if we don't have a great appetite, when you do eat, you want it to count. So you want it to be higher calorie. If we have a malnutrition, we need to see a dietitian. And so you can ask your doctor, send me to a dietitian. I believe that would definitely be covered by insurance also. What if we have trouble cooking or feeding ourselves? Well, then you know what we need? We need a referral to an occupational therapist. Those are people who can help you with the utensils and skills you need in order to feed yourself well. Sometimes that's like a weighted spoon. Some people have trimmers. Some for for a reason like maybe Parkinson's, but some for no reason at all. And so maybe we need weighted glasses. So then we lift that glass up to our mouth that we don't lose all the fluid before it gets there. Or we have heavier utensils. Or what if cooking is a problem because we can't stand all that long? They might help you be able to figure out how to do that. Or maybe we need some meal delivery. Has anybody done meal delivery here?
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. I have to say, I normally don't because I live way out where nobody would ever want to come. Yeah. But Uber Eats is one where they will deliver you meals from restaurants. HelloFresh and Fit Eats, they'll order meals that are already made up that are healthier meals. They're kind of like a frozen meal. But there are a lot of these things. You could do Instacart to order your groceries. There's lots of different things we could do. So what we need to do is let our primary care doctor, our PCP, know, because they have a case manager that works with them that has all the resources you'll need for these issues we're talking about. So don't be afraid to speak up. Okay, now this is for all ages. We might have a little more alcohol than we need. So alcohol can contribute to our sleep. It can interact with our medications. If we're drinking more than we're eating healthy foods, we're not getting all the nutrients we need. And you can risk being dehydrated when we drink too much. This is a sad thing. There has been no safe level of alcohol determined. It used to say, oh, the doctor told me to have a glass of wine, or somebody told me to have this or that. You know, the newer research shows there is no safe level. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have it now and then, but we got to be careful about our alcohol. So the aim, and this is per the dietary guidelines, less than 1 drink a day for women and less than 2 drinks a day for men. Now, I think that is very generous, especially when we have no safe level that we know of these days. So the guidelines haven't really quite caught up to that research. So I think that is too much, but that's still what the guidelines are. So I got to tell you that. But I would say as little as possible on the alcohol. Well, thank you for asking that, Edie, because 1 drink isn't those big old huge beers that you get. It's not a bottle of wine. And I will bet you most people, especially if they have someone at home sharing their wine with them, will say, how much do you drink? Oh, I just have, 1 glass a day. 1 glass is half a bottle, I betcha, because they're sharing it. So thank you for saying that. It's very small. It's a 12-ounce beer. It's a 1.5 ounce of spirits, or it's a 4-ounce glass of wine. Now, none of us have 4-ounce glasses of wine or wine glasses at home. That's like what our parents had, was that small. Okay, what about, this is for all ages too, sodium. As we have already discussed, sodium we love. But we want to be careful of too much salt. Why? Because it affects our blood pressure. It raises our blood pressure and our arteries don't work as well. So we got to really be careful about the salt. And I'm sorry, because I know it's not fun, but we've learned to love salt. We're not born to love salt. We learn it. And so we can unlearn that. We just have to go through a few tough times. Okay, yes, I'm speaking to you. So if we have high blood pressure, that can be associated with more severe COVID symptoms. I think the first time I made this slides, it was when COVID was going crazy. So that's why it's still at the top of my list. But high blood pressure is associated with Alzheimer's, with stroke, with heart disease, with kidney disease, and with poor eye health. Because high blood pressure can damage those little tiny blood vessels in our eyes. And remember at the beginning, I told you that I got all these issues. Maybe I had kidney disease. Maybe I had a stroke. Maybe I have Alzheimer's or dementia or something. And what diet am I going to follow? They're all the same diet. They're all a good plant-based diet with very minimal processed foods. That's what they're all about. And so if we wanted to get rid of salt, I just keep this slide in just to show, okay, maybe I do want to cut my salt a little bit. You're right. I might have a little too much. First of all, is eat whole real foods. Foods that are from a plant, not foods that were made in a plant, because those have too much salt. We want to get rid of our salt shockers. Can you think of one thing that you might think, oh my gosh, there is so much salt in that? What? There are things like soy sauce, Chinese food, things that after you ate that, you're going to be puffy in the morning. Those are salt shockers. So read your labels to see how much salt's in things. We can make healthy substitutions. Like a lot of recipes, you don't add salt. As you can tell from our soups today, we didn't add salt. You can add it later. You can modify your recipes. Most recipes will call for more salt than we really need. And so don't add it or add less. And if you eat at home more often, you get a lot less salt because you're in control of what it is. Okay. Now, as we age, we do want to worry about hydration. It's really easy to get dehydrated. And we don't have as much body water. I mean, our body's full of flesh and skin, and there's water in there too. We have less as we get older. So that makes us more sensitive when it's hot out in a Sacramento summer or when we get a fever. So we want to be careful about that. So how are we going to make sure we're getting plenty of fluids? We'll take sips of water, milk, or juice between bites at a meal. So have your water there, have little sips. Add liquids throughout the day. Don't wait till you're thirsty because our thirst mechanism lags behind our actual water level inside, our hydration level. So don't wait. When you take a pill, a lot of times you start with a little glass and you take your pills and that's all. Maybe use a whole glass of water when you do it and drink the whole thing. Um, we want to have these fluids. I'm not talking about sodas, beer, anything like that. I'm talking about fluids that don't have added sugar. Alcohol moderation, we already talked about that. Now, I know a lot of people hold back on their alcohol. I'm not alcohol, sorry. I don't know where that came from. They hold back on their fluids because they have a urinary control problem, or let's face it, we don't want to get up in the middle of the night to pee so many times. So you can talk to your doctor about that too. There might be some things they can help you with it. Or sometimes it's best to cut off your drink time, your fluids at a certain time at night so that you don't get up as many times in the night. We do want to aim for like 6 to 8 glasses of water a day, and that's not a huge glass. Even what you're having here, these little blue glasses, they're bigger than our glass of water that we're talking about. Cup of water is like that. And don't forget our foods have water in them too. So when you have soup, you got some fluid in that. When you have fruits and vegetables, you get some fluid in that. Okay, what about financial insecurity? So this is if we're having trouble buying foods because our foods are so outrageously expensive right now. So there are senior services out there that can help, and their goal, senior services, is to help improve the nutritional status of people as we age and to offer low cost and nutritious meals and offer an opportunity for social interaction. So these are usually done through congregate meals or group meals, like senior meals. And most areas have senior meals. During COVID, those shut down. Some opened up. I know out where I live in Placer County, they reopened. I'm not sure in Sacramento if they have them all the time. But you could also, if you are homebound, Meals on Wheels, where they deliver meals. It's only if you're homebound. There are farmers market kind of vouchers you can get if you are eligible financially for low income people. And then SNAP, that stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. We might be eligible for some food stamps. SNAP's what we used to call food stamps. It all depends on our financial status. And again, there's all this paperwork and it's not easy to maneuver all this stuff. So you talk to your PCP who has that case manager who knows how to do this. It's all at their fingertips. I really encourage you to talk to them about this. So if you need help with this kind of stuff, they'll help you. Okay, what else? Oh, we do want to be careful about foodborne illness or food poisoning. As we get older, we're a little more prone to it. We don't have as much acid in our gut that fights all the bacteria if we were to eat something wrong. Sometimes that bacteria in our gut can kill it, but as we get older, we don't do as well with that. So this is just a little reminder. Fight back, fight bacteria. It's a little cutie there. So we clean everything. We wash our hands, we clean our counters, we clean our dishes, we separate things. So when you're cutting, you don't cut your salad on the cutting board that you just chopped your chicken on. That's cross-contamination. So we don't do that. We keep everything separate. We cook things to the proper temperatures, meaning hot stuff's got to get hot, and then we got to chill things. They got to get cold fast. So today we made some soups. They're in big containers. We don't just stick that container in the fridge because it can take 24 hours for it to get cold enough to not grow bacteria in that big thing. So if you make a pot of anything, which I know I love to make soups and things, you transfer them to small little containers and then you put them in the fridge that way. They'll cool a lot faster and we won't be in what they call the danger zone, which was with foods in between hot enough and cold enough, and bacteria can grow in that range.
You shouldn't put hot food, like if you make soup, you should let it cool down before you put it in the refrigerator.
I do a little bit, nothing more than 2 hours outside the fridge though. 2 hours would be the max. And I think fridges are better than they used to be. So I think it's okay to put them in. But I'll usually let them sit on the counter or by the stove. But you got to remember, once I left a whole lasagna out all night and I had to throw the whole thing away.
Whoa.
So you just got to remember it. No more than 2 hours. Set your timer or tell Alexa to let you know. So that's a good question, though. Challenges as we age again, polypharmacy, meaning lots and lots of pills. It's hard to keep track of all these pills that we might be taking. Of course, we're changing our lifestyle, so hopefully we're not going to be on that many pills. But meds only work if you take them as prescribed. And you know, they say only about 25% of people take them as prescribed. So the trouble with that is that now when you go to the doctor and say, you know, I don't think this diabetes pill's working, but you haven't been taking the diabetes pill like you're supposed to, they can't increase that med. They don't know they need to increase that med yet. Or same with your blood pressure or cholesterol or anything. We've got to take it as prescribed. And then if it's super complicated, talk to your doctor. Maybe there are simpler ways to take it. Maybe there's combo pills. Doctors don't always do combo pills. You mean like 2 different meds in one as opposed to 2 pills? Because sometimes you don't need exactly that combo or that percentage of each pill. So that's why they don't always do it. Because you think, why didn't you just give me that pill? But that might be why. But there might be a combo pill available that would work out for you. So then you're only taking 1 pill instead of 2 every time. Diabetes meds, I'm a diabetes educator, and I know how complicated those could get, especially if you're on insulin and you're taking pills. And now we're throwing in, you know, Ozempic or Wegovy or any of those. It's hard to keep it all straight. So I really encourage you to see a diabetes educator if you have diabetes and you have a regimen that's a little hard to remember, because your insurance will cover a diabetes educator every single year, multiple visits in a year. And they can help you, and they can be the go-between between you and the doctor too, to help get the right regimen that works out for you. Also, enlist help. So if you think, gosh, I just keep forgetting to take this or that, you could ask somebody to help you. I've had people whose kids call them. I've had people who have a timer. I mean, Alexa can tell you every day when to take your pills. I have people who have a chart and they do a little check or a sticker every time they do that med. So remember, I can't tell you how many times I take my pills in the morning. My husband takes his at night. Right after dinner, he'll say, did I take my pills? And I'll think, shoot, I wasn't paying attention either. So I'm not the greatest help, I guess. But create a system that helps you to take your meds. Because if you're not taking them like prescribed, we don't know that they're working or not. Okay. For sake of time, I'm not going to show you this little clip, but there was a big study. It's called the EPIC, and it was in a place called Potsdam. And I don't know where that is. Germany, maybe?
Yeah, it's that area.
Yeah. So the study showed that you could extend your life 12 to 14 years if you did these 4 behaviors. And these weren't even fancy. If people never smoked, I know if we already smoked, that horse is already out of the barn. But if you never smoked, that's great. If your BMI, that body mass index, is less than 30, if you have a healthy diet, and to them, healthy diet was fruits and vegetables, whole grains, low in meat, but it did have some meat. And 3.5 hours a week of physical activity. This helped to lower your risk of chronic disease by 80%. I mean, these are not even fancy things. These are things you're probably doing already. So good for you. That's going to reduce your risk of chronic disease. So what we're going to do then is we're going to get more life out of those extra years. We're going to feel better. We're going to enjoy those extra years. So I thought those are kind of easy things.
What?
Yes.
How would you possibly and longer?
They look at a bunch of different studies.
Okay.
So an EPIC, actually, this EPIC study, this was a huge one. They actually looked at people and followed them for years and years. And then they pulled it out of the air. I'm sure there's fancy algorithms and statistics that make them feel that. I mean, but you know, that's a really good question, because you're going to say, well, maybe it's because of their genetics, or maybe it's because of something else. But they tease all those things out and they come up with that. I don't know. Researchers are amazing. I don't know. But isn't it fun to think we could do that?
Well, it's more accessible for more people.
It does make it more, it's just the real stuff that's not hard to do. And then you probably also heard about these blue zones. Anybody heard about the blue zones? If you haven't, you need to watch the Netflix special on it because that was very good. But these people, there's 5 areas in the world where these people live to be generally over 100 without all the chronic common aging diseases that we get. So there's only one in the United States. It is in Loma Linda, California, Southern California. But there's one in Greece, Italy, Costa Rica, and Japan. And this guy, Dan Buettner, he's the one that kind of traveled around, got this information. He also kind of teased it all out too, and found out that the things these people had in common were these things. So they moved, and like here we move. Well, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to walk on the track, or whatever we do. They just move naturally. Their lives are more movement than we are in our country, generally. But so they moved, they had a purpose. So it wasn't all just about the food. They had a purpose. So that gave them a reason to live and enjoy life. Downshift, meaning they worked on their stress. So they had stress relieving techniques. The 80% rule was when they ate, they didn't get full. They ate till 80% of full. That's not something we do here.
No.
Not something I even know how to do. I don't know how either. I know. I can't tell you. And it has a cutesy name. It's like Hobby. Does anybody know? Hobby Kaji Boo or something. It ends in Boo. I know that. But they never get super full. They never eat like we do on Thanksgiving and you have to undo your pants. They don't ever do that. They ate lots more plants than we tend to do. They weren't all 100% plant-based, but they did eat a lot more plants. People love this one. A lot of them had wine, so a little alcohol was there. They had the right tribe. I mean, they had a group of people that were kind of their people, and they had great family connections. And remember, these are in other countries where you have multiple generations living in a house, which isn't as common here. And they felt like they belonged. I think that's what I love about our program here is we do these things. We feel we have our tribe and we feel like we belong and we have these common interests and we work on these things, on eating right and stress management and exercise and social connectedness. So we work on all those things. So I love that about here, but the blues owners are good. Now you might have read a little trash about the blues owners because somebody said, oh, there's these people they checked on, they didn't even have birth certificates. How do we even know? They've just thought it was just a bunch of garbage. But they have come back and said, no, we were very diligent in proving that all these things are right. So I love it. So I tend to believe that. You do it yourself.
Hara Hashibu.
Thank you. Hara Hashibu. Okay, that's eating till you're not full.
80%.
80%. Yes. Which is just nothing we ever learned. Remember, our moms wanted us to be full. So that's what we did. So it's hard. Okay, so based on all that, what's the best thing as we age? What's going to help us to age the most gracefully? And so you hear all kinds of diets out there. Like right now, everybody's all about the protein. Oh my gosh, you got to have protein, protein, protein. Or maybe the DASH diet, and that's supposed to help with blood pressure. Maybe that keto diet, that's still floating around. That kind of used to be Atkins. Now, we're all about keto. Maybe it's that Mediterranean diet. Maybe it's a vegetarian diet. Maybe it's intermittent fasting, or another word for that now is time-restricted eating. You only eat in certain periods of time. Whatever you choose, it's got to be a thing you can do for the rest of your life. That's what it is. Because if you say, yeah, I can do that keto. I've never known anybody who did keto forever.
Thank goodness.
I know, it's horrible. Yes. So a whole food plant-based diet has been shown to reverse diabetes and heart disease. And it's the only diet that has been shown that. So are you willing to make any adjustments to become more plant focused, if you will, plant focused? So what's the best diet? Here we go. I'm ashamed that I had to put our new food pyramid on here,
Oh.
but I had to because, that's what it is now. So in case you haven't heard, our new dietary guidelines are less than perfect, are not based on most of the new science. They are backed by money, I believe. But yes. Oh, keto diet is when it's high protein, very low carb, and there's actually a lot of fat in it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are putting like shots of butter in their coffee. That kind of fat. Yes. And people say this really helped me to lower my diabetes. Well, of course it did because you weren't eating any carbs.
Right.
But you can't do that forever. So we got to come up with the thing we can do forever. People do lose weight on keto. It makes you feel more full because you have all that fat clogging up your cells.
Mediterranean is pretty.
Mediterranean is
My
great.
doctor told me.
Yeah, Mediterranean is a great one. That's up here in the upper right-hand corner. It's fruits and vegetables, it's whole grains, it's beans, it's smaller amounts of fish. Do you like it because they throw the wine in? Because that's a good thing.
No.
So the upper left is our old pyramid, if you will. So it's fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and protein foods. And then down the bottom, we have this little dash diet. I mean, they're not that dissimilar. It's fruits and vegetables and whole grains. The dash diet was really shown to help lower blood pressure, and that really helped us guide us to eat more fruits and vegetables. It's actually a great diet too. It's similar to Mediterranean. In the center is what we like to follow here. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains. Instead of meat, you see legumes or beans or tofu. Now, our new pyramid down at the bottom right, the high saturated fat foods are at the top, along with fruits and vegetables. And what they did in the directions for this was that they said don't overdo your saturated fat, but eat a lot of meats and cheese and dairy, so those are conflicting.
Yeah.
So that's one of many reasons I don't love it. But again, you got to pick the thing that works best for you, that's your style, your eating style.
When your fruits, grains, legumes, and vegetables, are those all four supposed to be equal? That you eat the same amount of each one of them?
That's a really good question. And I think if we're looking at our plate, you do want half your plate to be fruits and veggies.
Yes.
But we could totally go over on that. Just like on the choose my plate one, we could eat lots more fruits and veggies and have our meat be small. In our country, we don't do that. Yeah. Choose my plate. Well, that's the one that it's much better than our new one. I hope you never see your new pyramid up on the walls where you are. But they do adjust. You're absolutely right. They do adjust the portion sizes a little bit on Choose My Plate. And on our little plate, we don't. It's just, and on our plate, you don't have to really worry about your portions all that much because it's all good for you. So you don't have to worry about it. But that's a great question. So the bottom line is we want to eat lots of fruits, vegetables. I mean, how many times have I said that today? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains. I prefer plant, but you could go lean proteins, chicken without the skin, turkey without the skin, fish, and healthy fats. Healthy fats would be like olives, nuts, avocado. Thank you. I knew there was another one. Yes. And what we want to limit is our processed foods, things that were made in a plant, things in a box or can. Now, some are going to be okay.
Said in a plant, I thought like in an orange, I thought.
Oh no, like a factory. Factory. That was supposed to be a little play on words.
Yes.
We do want to limit our fruit juice. I don't know that we have to limit our canned fruit unless it's in heavy syrup. Refined grains, white flour stuff. High fat proteins. What's a high fat protein?
Bacon.
Bacon, good example. Okay, good example. Red meats, that kind of stuff. We do want to be careful about desserts, and we don't want to drink our calories. Yes.
They serve the dessert at our table every day.
Okay.
And you have a choice of yellow or fruit or
Whatever the dessert.
Or a fancy dessert.
and those kind of things.
Okay. Well, it's really hard when somebody else they're serving it to you too. So moderation is the key. So here we go. Specific nutrients, how's my time? Specific nutrients that we want to be careful about as we age. Vitamin D. So it's needed for our bone health. It's been shown to help with lots of chronic diseases too. And as we get older, our skin doesn't convert the sun into vitamin D like it used to. So where do we get this vitamin D? Well, it's in fatty fish. So that's why everybody's pushing salmon. So it's not in tilapia, but it's in our fatty fish. It's in eggs. It's in our dairy products. Our dairy products are actually fortified with it. But even our non-dairy milks are fortified with it a lot. And some mushrooms, because they go put them under ultraviolet rays. So they might have some vitamin D.
It's like Greek yogurt fit in there.
Greek yogurt would be a good source of calcium and vitamin D and protein. B12 is really important, especially if you're only eating plant foods, because plant foods don't have B12. But even without that, as we age, we don't absorb the B12 as well as we used to. And if you're on a drug called metformin, that's a medication for diabetes, that tends to lower B12 a little bit. And so if we don't have enough B12, what B12 does is it's the little covering on our nerves. So it affects our nerves, especially the ones far away, like in our feet. So when I hear that people are falling a lot, that's a red flag about, are you getting enough B12? B12 is a super easy one to supplement, as is vitamin D. Super easy to supplement. And then dietary fiber. That's something that most Americans do not get enough of. We get between 10 and 14 grams, and we're supposed to have 25 to 38. Where do we get fiber? It's not in our processed foods and it's not in our meats. It's in fruits and veggies and whole grains, beans, and nuts and seeds. It's in all that stuff you just ate for lunch. And if we have enough fiber, it reduces our risk of constipation and it reduces our risk of diverticulitis. It reduces our risk of colon cancer. It helps us to feel more full, so it helps us with weight loss. And, you know, everybody's on these GLP-1 medicine injections now. And what that GLP-1 is our gut can make it. But our foods, because it's so low in fiber, never makes it down to those bacteria in our gut. So we need fiber that makes it all the way through, and then it'll make all the GLP-1 you want. You don't need to take a shot.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
You're
thank
welcome.
you.
Who's diabetic
Uh-huh.
and not diabetic, but overweight. And the doctor was giving her the GLP-1.
Uh-huh.
And then her insurance said, we will no longer cover that.
Oh.
So she panicked and said, well, I can't lose weight then. Because she'd been losing weight because of the shot.
Right.
And I said, but you did it before. You did it before you got the shot. So I was a weight loss group.
Oh.
That's why.
The shot it does work. I mean, it totally does.
Yeah.
But we can do it on our own.
That's what I told. You can do it.
That's
I would
right.
Tell her to eat more fiber.
That's right.
Fantastic.
There you go.
Wait, what?
No, I was in Weight Watchers for years, but actually I was a leader of TOPS.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I remember talking extensively. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Iron's another thing that we may or may not need to be concerned about. Some people, we don't need as much iron as we get older. Ladies, we don't have periods anymore, so our iron doesn't drop like it did when we were younger. If we have too much iron, that actually can work against our heart. So we don't want to have too much iron. But some people, on the other hand, get low iron. And if you get low iron, you need to have some. So we want to eat iron-rich foods that come from real foods. And if you combine it with vitamin C rich foods, like if you have, chilies are a good example today. So chili, we have beans that are high in iron and we put tomatoes in them, high in vitamin C. And so we'll absorb that iron better. Okay, omega-3 fatty acids are another thing we hear about all the time. And these might reduce our risk of heart disease. So we love that. They reduce our triglycerides. They help with our brain health. Here's our fish sources. There's our fatty fish, trout, mackerel, tuna, and sardines too. And then, but if we're doing plants, how are we going to get our omega-3s? Oh my gosh. Well, we're going to eat walnuts. Maybe we'll do a little canola oil. Maybe we'll do some flaxseed or flax oil or chia and hemp seeds. That's how we tend to get ours. Yeah.
You have a handout on some of these things. 'Cause I
Yeah,
can't
that
type
would be
fast enough.
great.
Too hard to
Moving the
do that. I know. Linda has the slides on our website.
Okay.
So it has all that stuff.
All right. That's some other thing you mentioned, something back there you were mentioning and said, oh, and not too much fish. So I just thought, oh, I thought that's what good. And my big thing is the salmon and the tuna.
Uh-huh.
So limited the fish.
Well, if we're doing a whole food plant-based diet, we're usually not doing too much fish.
Okay.
But a little fish, if we're going to eat fish or eat meat, that's a good one.
I'm not a
Mhm.
big meat eater.
Yeah.
But I love fish.
Fish, we are a little worried about contamination. Mercury and stuff in them.
So, okay.
Tuna, is it supposed to be fresh tuna or?
Even canned is okay.
Back in water better than.
Oh, way better. Packed in water. Thank you for saying that. So if you think, okay, this all sounds fine. I guess I could do this maybe a little bit. Okay, here's what you do. You have a fruit and or vegetable at every meal. You have a whole grain or a starch with every meal. And you have a little protein of something sort at every meal. And you look at your plate and say, how colorful is it? Do I have all this stuff on my plate? What am I missing? When you come to your snack, you say, what am I missing today? Well, I haven't had much fruit today, so I'm going to have a little fruit a snack. Or I haven't had any nuts today. I'll have that as my snack. Okay, Linda, I'm running out of time, so
I have a
yeah.
question and a comment. I've been listening very carefully to what you've been saying, and I agree 100%. Because as old as I am, I'm still learning. And there's a lot of things that I have in me that are no more considered as, relatable to the younger crowd. Because when I grew up, my mother would say to me, eat everything on your plate.
Sure.
Or you won't survive and you won't leave this table until you. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Clean table.
Mine too. You're right.
And there was no such thing as, oh, I don't like this. That was
It's a lot different now.
Yes.
Oh,
And so that was how I raised my children.
Uh-huh.
We have clean fight club.
Oh, sure.
I have two husky boys. They're not playing football anymore. They're eating all the time. And we could not afford a lot of meat
Uh-huh.
or canned food because it was depression.
Yeah.
So we had to eat what came out of the yard of neighbors. Even a tomato was like 10 cents and we couldn't afford it. My mother would say, go to Dominic's, a little store. We didn't have big supermarkets.
Right.
And ask Dominic, who added everything up with a pen and put the pencil in his ear. He said, you owe us $3.
Oh.
Ask him if there's any rotten tomatoes to put in the soup.
Oh, see, that's a good idea.
But they weren't rotten. They were just a little
Just
bit.
soft, squishy. You're right.
Yeah. They'd say, oh, don't give me that. It's too smushy. So I'd go to Dominic, he'd give me a tomato to put in my mother's soup.
Oh.
And that's how we lived. It was a matter of money and parents demanding that you eat everything.
Yes.
I'm trying to break those habits now.
It's hard to change those. Yeah.
But I need to know about oatmeal. That's my question. What do you think of oatmeal? Because that was our mainstay.
I love oatmeal.
Fiber.
I have it every day. Yeah, oatmeal's great. High fiber. It's excellent. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so prep for success could be that you plan your menu for the week. So you all have at Fair Country Jamboree, you don't cook. But so for the rest of us, it's a great idea that plan a menu. Maybe cook something that you can eat all week to make your life easier. Cut up your fruits and veggies as soon as you get home from the store, however you're going to want to eat them that week. You're much more likely to eat strawberries if they're already washed and cut up than if you have to go wash it. Maybe you might like some shortcuts or things that make life easier. Instapot, air fryer. Later I added crock pot, but I'd already sent in my slides. Just things that might make your life a little easier. And maybe set a goal. like, yeah, I could eat a few more fruits and vegetables. So what am I going to do? Well, we have SMART goals. This is what we recommend. They're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable. So there's something you could do, realistic and time bound. So here I wrote one. I plan to eat, that's my action, 1 serving, that's measurable, of berries with my breakfast, specific, for 5 days, that's realistic, this week. It's time bound. And then you know what? Next week, I'll set another goal. So we keep changing things about exercise. I'm going to eat beans instead of meat. I'm going to go home and hide my salt shaker. Whatever we're going to do, whatever we want to do, I encourage you to set a goal. So bottom line, eat the foods that kind of go along with that plate method that you like, which is fruits and vegetables and whole grains and beans or lean meats.
You know what I do instead of salt?
What?
I put pepper on.
That's a great idea. Pepper is good.
Flavor from the pepper.
Absolutely. You're right. Yeah, I think that is great. Aim for lots of colorful foods. Try to not get processed foods. Have greens, beans, whole grains, fruits, and veggies daily. I wished I had $1 for every time I said that today. Think about a supplement, B12 or vitamin D maybe. Watch the salt. Get meal assistance if you need it. Try new foods. I think that's important. Don't be afraid to try new foods. And maybe cook up something once a week that you can eat all week. And we want to eat like our life depends on it because it totally does. I know. So I put no chopped chili today. Did anybody eat the chili? I know it was second in line. I didn't thought nobody's gonna eat the chili. I got it because you didn't have to chop anything. So I was thinking of you guys from Bear Hollow. I thought, well, maybe sometimes I'll want to cook something. And this you can just throw in a pan or throw in an Instapot and you just open a bunch of cans.
Yeah, Weight Watchers had a recipe similar to that.
I think I stole it from them. I stole it and modified it. Yes. And those corn muffins were actually, this is just to show you some things you can modify if you're cooking for all of us. So I actually use gluten-free flour and cornmeal. Instead of the brown sugar, I use date syrup, which I got on Amazon. I have it, so it comes in a little jug. Instead of salt, I just put a little pinch in there. I used almond milk. Instead of butter, I used all applesauce. I used a little maple syrup and put in a whole can of corn kernels. How were the muffins? Were they okay? Okay.
I'm gone.
Yours is gone. They're all gone. Okay. So thank you all for coming today, everybody, our newcomers and our old comers. And I think that's all I got. Okay. Thank you. Well, you guys all have to come back.
Thank you, and thank you.
Well,
We'll have to hear about this.
well,